Okay guys, so there you have it. The gas tank or the fuel tank is now in. However, there was a little bit of a mishap. We got it in.
And we get this out.
And we took this out. Yeah. So what happened was the Bobcat bucket was in here, and we used a piece of board. We used this board here, and we pushed it in because it didn't want to go over the last hump here. So I had to go way in there, and on the way back, the corner caught this, and there it is. But that's one of the hazards of not working with enough people, because you can't watch everything and you can't do everything, and all you can do is the best you can. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a way to straighten this thing out. If not, we're going to have to cut it across here and put in another piece and weld it. I mean, it's not a big deal. Now, we put in a 1/2-inch plywood down here, but come to find out, it was a thinner, probably 1/8 inch board, because this is a little higher here, so you could get to it and put fuel in there and stuff, but it's definitely a lot higher, because this, which is the vent that goes down there, this thing here was a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch too tall. So we took it off and we'll just put it back in. We have to put a hose down there and vent it. But now, there were some things that went wrong. For example, we bought a 12-volt DC pump so that we could take the antifreeze out, and we got that to work, but not too well. It was leaking everywhere, and this thing is supposed to lift 10 feet and push 100 feet, and it lifted about 1.5 feet and pushed about 3 feet. It didn't do very well. So we connected the pump to try to get the fuel out, and it wouldn't even pull enough to prime. So it never lifted the fuel up more than maybe 12, 14 inches. That's it. It would never even fill up the inlet hose. So we decided to put this thing in back in with the fuel that it had in there, and yeah, so there it is. Now it's just a matter of putting that vent pipe back in, hooking it up down here to the bottom. Here, let me show you. It goes right in there. So we're gonna have to put a pipe in there, put a flexible pipe in between, and connect it back to that. Yeah, and then we hook up this sensor for the fuel level, and put the straps back on, or put the strap back onto the top, connect the lines, and then test it out, make sure that the priming pump is working and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. So no sense in crying over spilled milk, because I don't drink milk, and yeah, we'll just fix that if we have to. I don't have a torch of any kind, a little propane torch or a acetylene torch or anything like that. But if we have to, I guess we're going to have to get one, because not only do we need to do this, if we heat it up, we can straighten it out a lot better. So not only do we need to do this, we also need to solder the copper lines, or copper lines that used to be hooked up to the air conditioning and heating under the compartment over here. So, oh, actually, it's behind this one here. So anyway, that's what we got to do. All right. So we'll just continue on, and it is what it is. All right, guys. Okay, guys. So this is the back end of the tank, and I was up there in the front, and I got this really odd feeling, and I said, yeah, I need to come back here and check. We had put in a piece of aluminum down here at the bottom, and it did catch the tank and pushed it out. So we're gonna have to take and bring the bobcat and push this back a little bit and fix this thing here. Yeah, but that's how it goes. You gotta break some eggs to make an omelet, and I think we broke more than a few, but it's no big deal. We'll get it done. All right. Okay, so here it is. So there it is. We got that thing back in there. Right now I've got a lot of pressure on this thing so that it sits wherever it's going to go. In a minute I'm going to back it out. And what I'm going to do, because I cannot get to the inside to put the rivets on that back side, I'm going to put a 90-degree angle to cover this corner here. Rivet the front and rivet this other side. So let me tell you what happened. Here, and in this corner over here on the inside, you have this metal bracket that sits there, and what it does, it has a little corner that it forms, and what it does is it gives a place for the tank to go in there and sit. And what happened was the angle came in at a little bit at an angle. So one side went in and the other side pushed everything out. And of course, I didn't catch it because I wasn't back here. I was on the other side, and the whole corner came out. So now we're going to have to spend some time to, make it work. So there it is. Now it's just a matter of bracing it up and putting some rivets on here and stuff, and then we'll be set. And then, of course, it has to be recocked. But that's the least of the problems. So yeah, all right, let me get this done and then I'll update you. Okay, so there it is. The fuel tank is back in. The bracket is in. All the hoses, all the connections. And let me tell you, it was a nightmare. Here, let me go outside and explain to you. I'll be back. Okay, so like I was saying, it was a nightmare. So as you can see, I did this, and that was because I was using the bobcat to push this thing in here, and on the way out I shifted it over just a hair, and the edge of the blade caught this. So after lunch, right now it's lunchtime, I'm going to cut this, straighten it all out and re-rivet back, and then weld that right there, So let me tell you what happened. This thing here, in the very back, it has a little bracket that's has a couple of, let me see, 2 or 3 90-degree bends. And what it does, it connects to this wall, but back there in the back. And what that does, it's supposed to hold the back end of the tank in place, which is fine if you can see the end of the tank. There's no guide that kind of slips it in on both sides so it kind of guides it in. No, it has to be a perfect fit from the very beginning. And that's why I blew out the back end, is because it caught the edge of that metal and just put the whole thing back. And again, you could say, well, that was your fault. And yeah, I guess you could say that. The problem was is that nowhere in the manuals that I got is there any kind of instructions on how to do this thing. So you're doing it all blindly. Now the other thing that happened is back here, oh, well, right here you can see it right here where my hand is. You see that lip right there? It's a bracket that has 2 bolts here and 2 bolts here and holds the tank down. Well, what I didn't know, and I didn't realize, because when I pulled the tank out, I slid it out and then removed the bracket that I had already removed the bolts from, but it was just sitting on top of the tank. Well, guess what? That bracket needs to go down over the tank before it slides in. Otherwise, all the connections up here won't let it go in. And I was not going to I was not going to take this tank back out so I could slip that thing in there. So I went round and round with it until I finally got it to fit in there. And yeah. And then of course the other nightmare is trying to get that bracket down so the bolts reach and you can compress it down. But we started this morning, and it took us about I don't know, maybe 10, let's see, 11, 12, maybe 2.5 hours to get that bracket in there and the connections plugged back in here. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is have some lunch. We'll open up the bay, and as you can see, you have a rivet. Well, maybe you can't see, but you have a rivet here and you have one down here. So I will grind those off. I will cut above this rivet here because it's bent right at the rivet. So I will cut here all the way across, remove the rivets on this side over here. That's why I have to open this door, and then take that out, beat it straight and all that stuff, and then re-rivet that back in there, and at a later time weld it here. Yeah. So now the only thing I need to do is this hose here, which actually is not the one that went in there. This is the one that went in there, but that thing is hard as metal. That thing is so old that it needs to be replaced. So anyway, what that does is it goes and connects down underneath here on the bottom of this thing here. So if you drop any fuel, it goes into this little basket looking thing there, where this connects to the bottom, and it puts it down that way. And that is just a air vent, you know. So anyway, yeah, so there it is. So yesterday, here, let me take you over there and show you. Okay, I don't have the screwdriver to open this thing up, but as you can see through this thing here, down in here, all this was rebuilt, re-riveted, and I added this right here in the corner. I added a aluminum piece, an angled piece there that was riveted, and yeah, everything was recocked, and that's what got pushed out, because that little metal thing that I was telling you about, that is supposed to hold the tank in place there, caught the lip of that thing and poof, pushed everything out. Yeah, so anyway, no crying over spilled milk, but I just don't like milk. All right, so we'll update you on other things later. Thanks for watching.
ขอบคุณเจ้า
See you next time.
แล้วปะกันแฮมไมนะเจ้า
See you.